Right. Hey, welcome. I'm Mel Robbins. Welcome to my daily live stream where I get on a video with you and find out what's going on, what has you stuck or overwhelmed, or what issue you're facing. And I give you the advice, the inspiration, sometimes the kick in the ass. Everyone needs a little tough love that you need. And for those of you that don't know me, I am the best-selling author of The 5-Second Rule. I'm also the host of the daytime syndicated talk show here in the United States. It's an advice talk show 5 days a week on television called The Mel Robbins Show. And this is where I help you with whatever it is that you're dealing with. And so I want to go to Kim, who is in Massachusetts and has a question that she wants to ask me. Hey, Kim.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great.
So my question just has to do with this COVID-19 epidemic or pandemic has heightened my sense that I'm not where I should be in life. And I think I coined a term in my head. It's the green grass trifecta. The grass greener in the past, the grass should be greener now, and the grass might be better in the future, or it should be. So that's the way I'm feeling. I feel like that the constant rumination over this is just causing me to get into that funk. And, I have a schedule and I put those best practices forward to try to make myself feel great every day.
So can you describe for me, what is it that you are ruminating about that makes you feel like that you're stuck in this green grass trifecta, as you call it?
Well, everyone has started to lose their jobs. I know that intellectually, I know that due to the pandemic, it does not discriminate against any sector of the economy. I mean, I just read an article that even healthcare workers, physicians assistants for like elective surgery, for example, and some doctors are being furloughed or losing their jobs. So I know it affects everyone, but just the idea that I could be on shaky ground and possibly lose my job if the company wants to make cutbacks, and it's mind-boggling to me that these companies have such a short runway of 1 month, and then the entire economy goes to hell. And so I know that it really may leave no person behind in terms of those effects. And so I wish I wasn't on such shaky ground, and that bothers.
So let me ask you a question though. So is the worrying that you're doing and the ruminating mostly about losing your job, or are you beating yourself up and punishing yourself in other ways too?
It's about that, but I guess I am beating myself up and punishing myself for like not amassing massive amounts of wealth, so that if I did lose my job, I just say, okay, well, who cares? I'm going to, Bermuda and, whatever. So that bothers me.
Are you where, push the pandemic or whatever the heck it's called aside, okay? Are you where you thought you would be in life by now?
No, I think, I went through the recession in 2008, which I would like make steps forward and take 3 steps back. So I would undertake a project to like improve my life and get, where I wanted to go. And then something seemed to always happen, economically, or just, I have some big loss in my life. And so it's the same thing here. I was starting to move forward and I had a really good plan for where I wanted to be like a year from now. And I was implementing that plan and I had really great traction on that. And then boom, this thing happened. So
okay.
We are again.
Okay, so here's the opportunity for you. The opportunity for you is to not make the pandemic personal, because the thing that will kill your ass is here we go again. When you start to buy into a narrative that there is a negative pattern in your life where you get fucked over, that just becomes louder and louder and louder. And what you're having right now is a crisis in your own resignation. And you're seeing the pandemic as a gigantic reason for why it's never now going to work out. And so what I want you to use this moment in time for is I want you to use this moment in time to start to truly win the battle with your own resignation. Because I used to have a story, and sometimes it crops up when I get really pissed off about things. I used to have the story that I'm like the bad news bears. I'm like that little sports team that everybody underestimates, and I never have the right equipment, and I barely win by the seat of my pants. And then everybody underestimates me, and I never get the recognition that I deserve. And why the hell does things have to be so fucking hard for me? And I'll tell you something. I thought I won that battle because I started to have some success. I've been working on my mindset. I've made a bazillion changes in my life. This is all when the 5-second rule books started to kick in. My speaking career takes off. I feel the momentum. Hell, I got a daytime syndicated talk show. I thought, holy shit, I have won the lottery. And all of a sudden, talk show's canceled. My book contract is canceled. Every single speech I have this year, but for one, is canceled. And I feel like I have been kicked back all the way to square one again. And every time I look on social media, everybody's a life coach and an expert in anxiety. And I'm like, what the fuck? You're a movie star. Get out of my lane. You know, like, when is it going to be my turn? You know, and this is coming from a person with millions of followers. And the reason why it surfaces up in a time like this is because I feel vulnerable. I feel insignificant. I feel scared. I feel powerless. And so that old story starts to bubble up again because it's familiar. And so the opportunity for me and for you is to use this pandemic to extinguish that shit. Because I'll tell you something, you are sitting in a house, you have a job, you have your health, you are a lucky son of a gun. And if you can get that shit out of your mind, you have the ability to use this moment of time to do what you need to do so that when we come out of this in search of a hug and some vitamin D, you are ready to sprint toward that thing. You have used this moment of time to think about, wow, all these goals that I have, the world's going to be a little bit different, which creates way more opportunity for people that are positive and that are strategic. But if you and I allow our own rumination and our own bullshit story about the past to sabotage you right now and to take you down a dark tunnel, you will not only waste all of this time, but you will emerge from this moment with more evidence for why it's going to be harder than ever. And I'm telling you right now, if you can get positive, if you can say, bullshit, this is happening for a reason. And you know what? I am going to use this time to make my plan better. I'm going to use this time to think about the things that I wasn't thinking about. I'm going to use this time to think about the opportunities that may be waiting for me. And every time something pops into your mind like, fuck, what if I lose my job? I don't have the savings. This house isn't as big as I wanted it to be. Shit. You're going off course. You are allowing things into your mind that, first of all, you don't need to worry about right now because it hasn't happened.
Well, I even texted a friend of mine earlier and I was catastrophizing, and I'm not really a catastrophizer.
Why are you doing it? Why?
I said, what if I need to go to a homeless shelter and the homeless shelters are overrun or the government cuts funding to the homeless shelter?
So why are you doing this?
I don't know. I guess I was searching for having a plan B and a plan C.
I think it's something deeper. I think you're seeking reassurance. I think you feel extremely vulnerable right now. And you are seeking reassurance. And your form of seeking reassurance is to get super dramatic.
Right.
So that everybody's like, oh, just calm down. Calm down. How old were you when you started doing that?
I'm really not, as a habit, a catastrophizer. But I did, as a young person, to get like my father to swoop in and comfort me or help me, I used to have to get very loud about it. So I crashed my car in freshman year of college, and it was a
purpose
experience, and it took him days to call me. And then I said, Dad, and I had to cry and get louder.
This is what's happening.
Said I was, you know.
This is it right here. This is the pattern that's repeating right here. You feel vulnerable. You want somebody to come in and rescue you because life feels fucking hard right now. And catastrophizing is a way to get people to reassure you. I know more about anxiety than most people on the planet because I struggled with it for 25 years. And I also used it to manipulate the hell out of people. Not
interesting what you say about that. That's an interesting take. I've heard you say that, that people with anxiety, they just get other people to fix their problems.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it allows you to get out of having to do the work that scares you. Right. And what scares you right now is putting your head down because you had a plan and your plan was starting to work and now having to readjust the plan. Me too. I had a plan too. My plan was to be a daytime talk show host. It was to write another book and publish it at the end of the year. It was to do another 60 speeches this year. It was to launch another course. All that shit just went, it scares the hell out of me to think about how am I going to reinvent myself in this moment. And it's easier. It's easier to scroll through social media and be pissed off at people who look like they're ahead of you. It's easier to walk out of my office and walk into my husband's office and go, oh, what if this happens? And what if that happens? What if the other thing happens? And then he reassures me, all of which wastes fucking time and energy. You have something you want to do. What is it?
Well, I wanted to move to Colorado. And
fabulous.
And I was making headway on that.
Fabulous.
No one's talking, no more interviews, no more hiring, no more anything.
Well, so what? You can't go anywhere anyway right now.
Right.
And so when this is over, guess what? Real estate prices are going to be awfully low. There are going to be a lot of places to rent.
Right.
There'll be plenty of things that you can figure out. If you lose your job, you could easily be unemployed in Massachusetts or in Colorado. Right. So there is nothing preventing you from moving to Colorado except for getting in your car and going when you can. Nothing has changed. You are just nervous because the plan that you had changed. Right. You can still get somewhere else. Life just told you it wasn't going to work that way. And so life is testing you. How bad do you want it?
Badly.
There you go. Then stop bitching about it. Stop texting your friends. Stop worrying about losing your job and start figuring out where the hell you're going to move exactly in Colorado and what are the companies you want to be targeting and who can you be networking with online and what kinds of things can you be doing in terms of stalking those folks and their comments and getting to know them online and doing all kinds of stuff to tee yourself up so that when this ends, you're ready to go.
That's true. I should deepen my plan at this point. It was working well just on the surface, like, oh, apply for this. These people would call me back and so on and so forth. But now I probably have to dig deeper.
Yeah, you do. We all do, because this is not something that's happening to you personally. Look, we didn't choose for this to happen, but you get to choose how you show up to it.
Right.
And this is an opportunity for a huge breakthrough for you. Because you strike me as somebody who is very resigned and somebody who doesn't believe that shit's going to work out for her.
I know, and the truth is, if I go back historically, it has always worked out. I said, oh, I want to live here and do this and drive that car, and it's always worked. So I don't know.
Why don't you believe in yourself?
I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that at this moment. Why, or write down all the evidence for why I should, and go back in history and say, well, you did it this time and this time and this time and this time. And so that's evidence that, the
evidence isn't convincing you because you're sitting here telling me about it in a very flat, unemotional way. You have a narrative that your life is hard.
Right.
And that it's not fair. And I don't know where that came from, but it's not serving you. And I would be willing to guess that it's either somebody else's story that you just started to adopt as your own, or it is something that you made up because of something that happened to you as a kid.
Right.
And as you have gone through life, surviving everything and overcoming everything, the story that life is hard and it's not fair has remained. You see, life is just life. And you are the one that's deciding that it's not fair and it's hard. I want you to start telling yourself a different story. This shit's going to get easy. I'm a problem solver. I'm a survivor. If anyone's going to come out of COVID-19 and this bullshit, it's going to be me, because I'm going to be in a car driving to Colorado to meet up with all these people I've been networking with, because my life is easy because I'm a doer and I believe in myself. That is your core issue, is you are telling a narrative about your life. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. What I know is it doesn't fucking serve you. And that's what's got to change.
Yeah, I've overcome a lot of obstacles, and they were all kind of unfortunate events that I couldn't control as a kid and moving along, even though I had a wonderful childhood. But there have been obstacles. And so I do feel like in many ways, I'm like a survivor instead of just thriving. I'm surviving. And that's not, you're right. I need
What
to.
does it mean to thrive in your mind?
For everything to come, not easily, like, oh, here, come give it to me and slap it on my lap. But for me to say, this is what I really want to do. And then the steps move along and things happen and they come through in a positive way. And I get what I want relatively easily instead of having such a struggle.
Well, what if you're the only part of the struggle? What if you're the one? And I'm not talking about a struggle out there. I'm talking about the struggle in here. I'm looking for a little, oh, here it is. Hold on. I've been using this a lot. Is this one? I don't know. This will work. It's I've got another word on this, but oh, here it is. Let me see. So there's, oh, is this going the right way? Can you see this? External, internal. There's external struggle and internal struggle. This is the struggle that needs to end. Right. Thriving would mean not getting all that stuff. Thriving would mean that you are doing what you're doing without punching yourself mentally and emotionally the entire time you're doing it.
Right, removing the resistance. It's almost like when they're doing a roof and there's tar on the street and you drive over it and it just tacks on to your tire. Same thing. You just have to get rid of that because
here's the thing that has changed my life and always diffuses the bullshit stuff that I tell myself about being the bad news bears. You ready? The thing that I'm in right now is preparing me for the chapter I can't see that's coming. And when I look at my life that way, I don't see anything as a failure. Yeah, of course, I just told you a story that my talk show got canceled and my book got canceled and my speeches got canceled. That's just what happened. I can either tell myself a story that all that shit got canceled because I'm a fucking loser, or I can tell myself a different story, which is all that stuff got canceled because it was supposed to. I wasn't supposed to do that talk show. I was supposed to learn something doing it. I was supposed to meet people doing it. I was supposed to gain some sort of skill doing it that is preparing me for the next thing that's amazing that I can't see. And that's already coming true because that's been the story of my life. If I really want to tell it in a positive spin, of course the book was supposed to get canceled because that publisher was a pain in the ass to deal with. And I was a year late in delivering a manuscript. I wonder why, because I wasn't all that inspired to write it. So it prepared me for never doing a deal again that didn't quite feel right. Thank God it got canceled. Right. And speeches getting canceled, it's now blowing my mind. Of course I lost a shitload of revenue, but you know what? It's making me think about the fact that the whole world has changed and there's so much opportunity in doing training and events virtually. And now, like, how can I problem solve in that? And so there is something in what's happening in the struggle that is meant for you. And when you flip it into a faith that is preparing you for something, and the biggest possible thing that you're supposed to learn is how not to suffer internally and how not to struggle internally. And when I say suffer and struggle, I don't mean the daily bullshit and the emotions that rise and fall. That happens to all of us. Of course, you see something on Instagram or social media and it triggers you and it makes you feel inferior. Let it last for 10 seconds and then keep going, because you have a faith and a bigger belief that something amazing is coming. And this mental battle that you got to learn how to win, you're not going to get the reward that you're supposed to get until you learn how to stop struggling and how to stop adding all of that tar that you talk about.
100%.
And what's that?
Is it 100%? And that's why I was saying about going back, and if I just journaled it or something and I said, look, this is what got me to where I am now, and I could see every step of the way, then writing that down would get it in my head, which will get it into my heart. That
yes, you can do that, and that is one thing to start to do to reprogram the story you tell about your life. The second thing is a tolerance policy for allowing that shit to stay there. And I would use the 5-second rule. Count down backwards to yourself. The moment you start getting one of those negative thoughts, I do not do this anymore. I am going to live in a mindset that things are unfolding and I don't even know how or what or why yet. I just know I'm not allowed to struggle anymore. I'm supposed to remind myself that I survived this stuff, and it's time to start thriving and being patient and trusting through this instead of being so about it all.
That's how I am. I need to stop.
You know why I know? Because it's how I am. And if I let myself get stuck up here, I become this tense ball of frustration. And the second I start to feel that in my body, that is an old fucking story. Get it out of here. I do not believe that anymore. I believe that if I do the work and if I keep in a space in my head and in my mind and my body, that this is unfolding in a way that I cannot see, but it is preparing me for something amazing that's coming. You stay in that space of gratitude, you stay in that space of faith, you stay in that space, and you will win every single time.
Perpetuate.
Yes. Got it?
Got it. Awesome.
Have fun in Colorado.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. And for you, I hope that you heard every word that I said, because I was talking to you as much as I was talking to me and I was talking to Kim, because we all need to hear that. And in case you need to hear something else, I'll be the one to tell you today. I love you. I believe in you. I believe in you I believe you can get rid of that shit from your past. I believe that you can tell a different story. And I believe that you can stop making the fucking struggle personal right now. And you can fight to stay positive, and you can fight to see the opportunity. Because, you know, that's the choice that you have. You didn't choose to be in this mess, but you can choose how you show up for it. And so I hope today you start choosing to not feel sorry for yourself, not catastrophize, not ruminate, but I hope you choose to get busy looking for what the opportunity is and looking for how you are going to start to prepare yourself to meet this moment and to be ready for the next thing that's coming, because it's coming all right.